We're gonna swim, bike, and run in the corner sun. We're gonna swim, bike, and run in the corner sun. 2021.
Macho Man, thank you so much
Woo!
for bringing us in. This is Breakfast with Bob, not quite Kona edition. My name is Bob Babbitt. We are brought to you by Challenge North America, Hoka One, Credo Tri, Amp Human, Velo Fix, Four Seasons Walla Line, Normatec, Form Goggles, UCAN, Canyon Bikes, and of course our Challenged Athletes Foundation. I am so excited that it's not often that I have a doctor joining us on our show. She is Els Visser and only one of my favorite people on the planet. I love when people come back from tragedy and create greatness. That's always fun. Els, how are you doing?
Hi, Bob. Thanks for the invitation. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So, growing up, were you an athlete growing up? Was that part of your life?
Well, I played different kinds of sports. So I did a bit of everything. But tennis was my main sport. I loved playing tennis and still love it, actually.
So take me back to and you were someone who liked to travel. So
Yeah.
you were traveling through Indonesia. It was like a 3-month solo through Indonesia. Talk about
Yeah,
what
that's right.
happened this is back in August of 2014.
Yeah, that's right. So I did my medical studies. And in 2012, I made my first big trip to South Africa and I did an internship in the hospital over there. Which I really enjoyed. And yeah, it was like for my own development, it was so good to explore different healthcare systems in the
Uh-huh.
world. And then the year after, I decided to make another trip to Indonesia to do an internship in gynecology and obstetrics on Bali. And after that internship, I had 2 months to backpack around and explore Indonesia. Yes.
And so one you were on a boat trip
Yeah.
and 4-night boat trip, dive, relax, have some fun. There's like 20 tourists on the boat. So the second night of this trip, take me through what happened.
So the weather was like very extreme at that night, and the waves were like really high, and we had to drive for 18 hours to reach our next destination, the island Komodo. And then around 11 p.m., it was like so crazy, and the waves were so high, and the boat was like bouncing over the waves. And by that time, I was like already like really scared and yeah, very anxious that maybe something was going to happen. And then around 11 p.m., actually, the guide, he came upstairs and he said, well, you have to wake up, take your life jackets, and we are making water. There's a hole in the boat and we are sinking. Um,
Oh,
yes. And
so you put life jacket on, you took your passport so that, people could identify you if you didn't live. And then you took your memory card in case you live. What's the wave hits, the boat sinks, and then you're in the water, and it's not like it's the middle of the day; it's nighttime, correct? It's got to be the scariest moment of your life.
yeah, we had like the entire night ahead of us. And like if rescue was coming then and we had to wait for 2 or 3 hours, then it was kind of maybe okay and I could accept it. But the problem was that nobody knew that we were there in the middle of the ocean and that we were sinking and were in trouble. And that's what really scared me, that nobody knew that we were there. And I thought, well, if no rescue is coming, then this will be probably the end of my life, because yeah, nobody knows that we are here. And yeah, what you say, it was in the middle of the night and it was like complete dark, and we couldn't see anything.
Well, and it's not like you were a triathlon swimmer at that point.
No. No, and like even like if you are a very strong swimmer, I don't know, like yeah, maybe you feel a bit more comfortable in the water, but in the end, the ocean will decide whether you will survive or not. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the temperature's dropping because of your medical background. You realize hypothermia, dehydration. You unfortunately sort of know what's coming.
Mhm.
6 a.m. The sun comes up, and you end up you're in the lifeboat, You got pulled in a lifeboat and you see an island out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And was it immediate that, okay, I'm going to swim towards that island? Because a lot of times things look closer than they are.
Yes, well, at the moment that I saw that island, for me, that was the only hope and way to survive. And I thought, well, I have to reach this island to stay alive and to survive. But in the meantime, I saw that the island was so far away and that the current was like coming away from the island. And every like other tourists, they all said, well, else don't like risk that swim because you can't like, it's impossible to reach that island. And well, then I thought about it and I thought, yeah, probably I'm not going to reach that island if I swim away. But the other option, waiting at the wreck and with the little lifeboat, wasn't an option either. So then my intuition and my feeling said, oh, else I think you should go for this swim. And then I decided around, I think 10 a.m. in the early morning to swim away. And then four other people came with me.
4 other people, and you guys were in your life jackets.
We were in our life jackets, yes. Yeah.
That's hard to swim in a life jacket.
Yeah, so we were actually like swimming on our backs and like keeping our arms crossed and then making like very powerful like leg strokes. And our faces facing the sun to like still get some like warmth and heat from the sun.
How long did it take you to get to that island?
I guess it was about 8 hours. So we reached the island just before sunset.
And were there other people stayed on the boat? It wasn't like everybody went.
No, so we left with 5 people. 5 people started swimming and all the other 20 tourists, they stayed at the boat. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get to the island, I mean, after 8 hours in the water, how were you physically after enduring that?
Well, during the swim, I didn't have any pain, no cramping, and it was like just like going and going and going, and I didn't feel any exhausting. But by the time I had my feet on the land and on the beach, I realized how sore my legs were and how fatigued I was. So yeah, when I reached the island, I was like extremely exhausted. Yes. And
so 5 hours into the swim, you could see the trees on the island, but you're 500 meters from shore and there's a huge riptide. So it took you a couple of hours to get through that last 500 meters. That had to be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, that last part was the hardest because what you said, there was like a really strong riptide. But in the meantime, I really believed by that time that we would reach the island because we were getting like so close. And by that time, I was like so relieved. Oh, well, it doesn't matter if this will take me another 2 or 3 hours, but now I kind of believe that we are getting there.
So you get to this volcanic island. There's no food, there's no water, there's no shelter. You guys are naked on the beach. What did you eat? What did you drink? How did you stay alive?
Yeah, so I was with Galen, a lady from New Zealand, and she felt like a mother for me, and she was like very experienced. And I thought, well, I just like do what she thinks is best for us at the moment. So we tried to find water and fruit or some other things to eat, but we couldn't find anything. And just before we like found a sheltered place to sleep on the beach, we decided to drink our own urine.
Right.
Just to get some hydration.
Exactly. And did you lose hope at some point? Did you feel I'm going to die on this island?
I did in the water, but when I was on that island, I felt kind of safe because I was like so glad that I didn't have to stay a second night in the ocean and I had like land. But of course, I had my worries about like finding water and food because I still thought, well, probably we will be here for a week or 2 weeks or maybe longer. I had no idea. But then the day after in the morning, I found a little water hole with fresh water. And by that time I found that water, I felt that, there was like a big relief as well, that I thought, well, probably now we can survive on this island as well because there's fresh water.
Of the people who swam with you, did everybody make it?
Well, I left with 4 others and they all reached the island. But after we started swimming, 2 Spanish guys, they started swimming away as well. And these guys are never found back.
And how were you rescued? What happened?
It was by accident. So we spent the night on the island, and in the morning after, a boat was passing, and it was a cruise boat, and they weren't looking for us. It was just a random boat, but we got their attention by waving with our life jackets, and then they thought, well, let's have a look, what's going on there, and then they found out that we were shipwrecked.
So 40 hours. Is that how, I mean, basically from when you guys first were submerged, so 40 hours. How did that change your life? Just living through something like that?
Well, I really want to live my life to the fullest right now, and just like live every single day and take every opportunity I get. And at the start, or when I got back in Holland, like for the first 3 months, it was like really difficult because I was really convinced that my life would come to an end. And out of a sudden, I was back into the normal world, and I couldn't really process that. But then after a few months, I started accepting that I was still there and that I got another opportunity to live. And then I thought, well, I can like really build on my future and work on my career, and do everything I can to maybe become a great surgeon in 10 years' time. But then I found my passion for triathlon, and also found out that I had a huge talent for the sport. And I thought, well, I take this opportunity right now and give it a go. And I didn't know if I had I knew that I kind of had a potential, but I didn't know like what I could achieve in the sport. But I thought I just give everything I have and go for it and enjoy the journey.
So there's not that many people who really come from a no swim, bike, or run background to become a professional triathlete. And you're coming off of basically a near-death experience in the ocean and deciding, what the hell? I've got a second chance at life. I'm going to be a professional triathlete. I'm going to try to become the best in the world. Mm-hmm. Somehow that quest seems like it would be so difficult. When you made that decision, this is what you're going to do, what were your first steps? Did you get a coach? Did you get a bike? What were the steps to becoming a professional triathlete? Because you're starting at ground zero. You've got no background whatsoever, except for you've just spent 8 hours in the ocean.
Yeah, I really remember the first day that I joined the local triathlon club, and I was standing there in my running clothes, and we had a bike ride. And then they said, well, Els, we are going for a ride. What are you doing in your run clothes? But yeah, I didn't have like anything. I just like bought a bike, and I thought, well, I can ride my bike in my run clothes. And I think it's just, it's just a big learning process, and I'm still like learning and discover things. And I take it step by step, and I don't need the best equipment like from the first day. And I don't have to know everything. And I see it as an advantage now that I still have no idea about some things, and I just like get my experience at every race and improve and keep learning.
So we meet in Kona in 2016, and
I was 19.
2019 when you were 16, and as a pro, and that was your first time racing in Kona.
Yes, yeah.
And when I look at what you did in 2000, you were second at Ironman Z, and fourth at Zurich, and seventh at Challenge Roth, and fifth at Ironman Asia Pacific. All of a sudden, it seemed like everything came together, and you were racing so well. Red Bull sponsorship, which I love, and you got a new book out, and you're a doctor.
Terrible.
Let's see. I want to see your book.
And it's pretty cool, hey?
It is so cool. That is good for you, Els. I'm so proud of you. That is the coolest thing in the world. So when you look back at the tragedy of what you went through, it led to all of this. So is one of my buddies used to say, is it a tragedy or is it a gift?
Actually, now it's a gift to me. And I always say I never want to experience this ever again. But now I'm kind of grateful that I went through it, because my life has like changed a lot in like a really positive way. And if I look back to the last few years, then like Yeah, my life changed a lot in a really good way, and I just like try to make the most out of it and enjoy everything, and become the best I can be. And I think it's also like I work hard, and also now in triathlon I really want to be the best, and I train hard and give everything to become the best I can be. So it's hard working, but in the meantime I really love what I'm doing, and I think that's like most important, that you do what you love. And if it's like not like the um, I think a lot of people, they are like in their own bubble, and they really maybe do a job or they have a profession where they don't really have passion for. And I really think that if you have like such a strong feeling and such a big goal in your life, or something that you a really big desire that you really want to achieve something, then I always say, like, why won't you do it? And just like give it a go and like see what happens. And you can only regret the things you didn't do.
Yes. So with this year of COVID, I mean, you were coming off the greatest year of your career, and you go into COVID, but you've got two hats. You're a doctor. And so during this period of COVID, have you been busy as a doctor?
Well, I was in Australia last year for quite a long time, because the situation in Australia was a lot safer than it was in Europe. So I decided to stay a bit longer in Australia.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't do anything with my medical profession. But yeah, of course, it's like a really tough year for everyone, and I think we still have to be patient in the coming months. And
Yes.
there are no guarantees, and I think it's just important now to stay healthy and to take care of each other, because I really see that um, next to like the COVID, it's causing a lot of other problems, like mental problems, and people really miss the social contact.
Yes. Yes.
So I really think that it's important now to be there for each other and to do like everything you can to help each other, and to like give something to people that feel lonely or need some help.
So if the world does come back and you're able to race in 2021, where do you have any ideas where you want to race? Go back to Challenge Roth, maybe
Actually,
Kona.
Kona, of course. Yes. I qualified for St. George, the 70.3 World Championship, so I would love to
Perfect.
go there. And it would be great to see you on the Big Island, Bob.
Of course.
So yeah, I hope that I can qualify somewhere, but at the moment I don't focus on a specific race. I just focus on what I can do now, and I hope to be ready like when the races are.
What I
On.
love is when a lot of pro triathletes, that's their entire life. And if they can't race, their identity sort of, it's difficult to deal with day to day when if your whole life is triathlon and you can't do that. You're a doctor, you're a triathlete, you also have overcome, one of the worst experiences anybody has ever had. So knowing all that, I bet the balance of that makes you able to handle all this.
Well, to be honest, it was like a really tough year for me. And I think last year I've really focused on myself as an athlete. And maybe I lost myself a bit as a person, and I lost the balance in my life.
Yes.
So once I got back to Europe in September, I really sat down for a while and took some time to think about what's important for me in life. And I found out that it's not all about like being an athlete, and that it's really important for me to have a balance in my life, and also pay attention to my family and friends, and maybe to my medical profession, and I don't focus too much about the sport. And even today I was thinking, like, if I'm a champion and win multiple races, is this where I'm living for? But I don't, of course I want to be a champion, but I don't think that this is the most important thing for me in life, to win races. But more to have like a good balance in my life.
So the pinnacle of triathlon is the Ironman World Championship.
Yeah.
And for you to be there in 2019, and to come across that finish line and be on the Queen K Highway and doing that swim, it had to be so special for you, especially after sort of making that decision after living that I'm going to pursue greatness and do something I never thought I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel that when you were racing in Kona, that this is pretty special? This is why I made the decision.
That's
to
why
get
I
into the
like
sport.
really love the Ironman races, because we all, like the age groupers and the professionals, we all go so deep and we give like everything mentally and physically. And once you cross that finish line, it's like kind of surviving as well, a race every time,
Yep.
over and over again. And the first step is to reach that finish line. And like once you cross that finish line, you have like a moment that you're so proud on yourself that you made it to that finish line, and that it's also like a moment to process like of all the months of training and everything you gave to achieve the result on that day. And that's why I love this sport, like going so deep mentally and physically and give everything you have on that day and really surviving and being on course with all the athletes who are doing exactly the same.
Yes.
Just like giving our best to get the best result for for ourselves. And that's why I really like love the sport.
So with your book, the book just came out not that long ago?
Yes, 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. So I bet you've been
Yes, I
busy
know.
doing media around the book. And is it going over well? People are liking
Well,
it?
actually, we are in the bestsellers list, so
Oh,
it's going like pretty well. Yeah.
when will they be translating it into English?
Uh, yeah, at the moment we just have a Dutch version, but maybe who knows in future when I'm a bit further in my triathlon career, we come
I
up with
love
a
it.
translation.
Love it. Els, it is always a treat to get to chat with you. I love your energy. I just love what your backstory and where you're at now. Are you, in terms of Red Bull, your book, so much success going on? Are you happy right now?
I'm like really happy, and just what I said, that it was like pretty tough when I came back to Europe last year, but I think I found like the balance in my life and found out what's important for me, and I'm like really excited to be on course again, hopefully this year, and give you a hug, Bob.
There's mine too. Els, such a treat to get to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking time. Els Visser has been our guest. This is Breakfast with Bob, not quite Kona edition. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Els, thank you for taking
Thank
time.
you, Bob. It was a pleasure.
Bye.